Hello everyone, this is Dr. Meenakshi Gupta. Today we are going to discuss another topic of pharmacology, that is management of myocardial infarction. So what is myocardial infarction? It is a medical term for the heart attack. So myocardial infarction is a medical term for the heart attack, and it happens due to the cutoff of the blood supply to the myocardium. Now you all know the myocardium, it gets the blood supply from coronary artery, and that coronary artery, it enters from the outside. It enters from the outside and from outside to the inside. So whenever any ischemia or any reduction in the blood supply to this coronary artery or to the heart happens, the first part which will be affected is the inner part, this one. This is a cut section of the heart. You can see left ventricular, right ventricular. So another, you can see this portion in the next figure also. This I have taken from the Tripathi. Already I have shown you while discussing the anti-anginal drug. So this is this portion of the myocardium. Mainly it is going to focus in this diagram. We have focused only that much portion of the heart. So this layer, it is endocardium. This is what I have done on lines I have drawn, that is myocardium, and the topmost, this one, that is epicardium. So whenever there is any ischemia or any reduction in the blood supply to the heart, which portion will be affected first? It is this portion, because this is going to get initially the less blood supply, and the person, this is called as a subendocardial ischemia, right? And when this happens, then what will happen? So person will not have any pain at rest. It is only when the demand increases, like during exercise or during any exertion, the pain will be there. That is what's happened in the stable angina. Now what will happen if there is this ischemia? If it is progressing and it is going to cover the whole wall of this one. The whole wall, if this one is affected, that is called a transmural ischemia. We say it a transmural ischemia. So two type of ischemia, they are there, subendocardial ischemia and the transmural ischemia. Now what is the cause of this ischemia? What will happen? This coronary artery, the lumen of the coronary artery, there will be narrowing of this lumen of the coronary artery because of the slow deposition of the fat. There is a slow deposition of the fat will happen here. And due to this slow deposition of the fat, if the person's dietary habits, they are not good, then what will happen? Further, this deposition of the fat, it takes a form of plaque. You can see in the next figure here. So this is a plaque. This is a normal blood vessel and there is a fat deposition, and further that deposition happens and plaque formation will be there. And because of this plaque formation, you can see the initial lumen, this here, the normal lumen is this much, and after the plaque deposition, now this is the lumen. Now the blood supply, that is reduced. This is what happens in the stable or classical angina. So whenever demand is there, then what will happen? The person will be getting the pain. Then what will happen if this plaque, it gets ruptured? Then all the thrombogenic material, they are going to come and it will be released, and it is going to cause the further narrowing of this blood vessel. The lumen, it gets narrowed further, and this leads to unstable angina. Now, depending upon the severity of this reduction of the blood flow, we can see the different spectrum of the acute coronary syndrome. We have unstable angina, NSTEMI and STEMI. This is non-ST segment elevated myocardial infarction, and here the ST segment will be elevated. So, myocardial infarction, it can be without the elevation of the ST segment and it can be with the elevation of the ST segment. Now, what are the important differences among these three: unstable angina, NSTEMI and the STEMI? So, in the unstable angina, it is just a myocardial ischemia. Here what is there? There is a myocardial ischemia will be there. So, here only ischemia is there. So, it is reversible. So, tissue, it is not necrosed here. Tissue is not dead. Whereas in STEMI, what will be there in STEMI? A portion of the myocardium will be necrosed. So, here what will happen? We are talking about the infarction. Infarction. So, tissue is necrosed or tissue is dead. A portion of the wall of this myocardium will be necrosed. So, you can see in the next diagram here what will happen. This much portion, suppose if it is a necrosed. This is in non-STEMI myocardial infarction. Whereas in STEMI, what will happen in STEMI? The whole portion, this whole thing will be necrosed. The entire wall, entire thickness of this myocardium will be necrosed, and it is irreversible. A portion or tissue that is dead. So, in both non-STEMI and STEMI, there will be infarction and tissue is dead. Here it is only a part of the wall. A part of the wall is necrosed. Here the entire wall, that is of the myocardium, will be necrosed. And what about the occlusion of the coronary artery? The coronary artery, it is not occluded. So, there is an incomplete blockade of the coronary artery. Here also the blockade is incomplete. And here it is the complete blockade that is there. So, this is the basic difference between the unstable angina and STEMI and the STEMI. Another one is how you can differentiate in this one. By the lab diagnosis, you can differentiate among. Clinically, you cannot make out anything between the unstable angina and STEMI and the STEMI. It is only with the lab diagnosis there, the few cardiac marker is there, and then on the ECG. So, in the ECG, what we will be seeing, the ST segment, no elevation. ST segment, it is not elevated. Here also the ST segment, that is not elevated. But here the ST segment will be elevated. Number one, this difference. Another one is when there is a myocyte. Because of the death of the myocyte, what will happen? They are going to release a cardiac marker or important enzyme from the cardiac myocyte. So, what is that enzyme? That is a troponin I. So, this is not found in the plasma, whereas this is found here also and this is found here also. Okay, इनमें troponin I level will be there, and this level it rises within the 2 hours of the pain, and peak will be there in 12 to 48 hours, and it will stay there for another 2 weeks. So these are the differentiating point between the unstable angina and the myocardial infarction. And in further, if you want to differentiate between the myocardial infarction, whether it is a NSTEMI or it is a STEMI, you can see the ECG. Because there will be no elevation of the ST segment. If there is no elevation of the ST segment, then it is a NSTEMI. If there is an elevation of the ST segment, then it is a STEMI. So this way you can differentiate, because so this is a differentiating point of all the three: unstable angina, and STEMI, and the STEMI. So this is about the subendocardial ischemia. And then if myocardial infarction, or so far what I have told, what is a myocardial infarction? It is the ischemic necrosis of the myocardium because of the obstruction to the blood supply of the heart. Now, what are the important symptoms of the myocardial infarction? So, important symptoms, it is a chest pain. So, chest pain, which is initially, it is a heaviness will be there, or dull pain will be there, and it will radiate towards the jaw, shoulder, left arm, and to the back also. And is there, like, if the person does not feel pain, any chest pain? Yes. If the person is diabetic, especially in a diabetic female, because of the autonomic neuropathy, sometimes there are silent MI. So chest pain is number one, and then there can be nausea and vomiting can be there, lightheadedness will be there, there can be dyspnea or shortness of the breath, and excessive sweating can be there, and palpitation. These are the few of the important symptoms of the myocardial infarction. Now coming to the risk factor. So what are the risk factor? Risk factor, they are further off. The few they are, we can modify, and few we cannot modify, non-modifiable. So what is modifiable? Like lifestyle, we can say smoking, diabetes, hypertension, lipid level, and if the person is using any cocaine. Non-modifiable is age, sex, then family history. These are the non-modifiable. Diagnosis, already I have told about the diagnosis. We can go for the cardiac marker, troponin, IK level, CKMB, that is another one, and then on the ECG. So these are the important diagnosis by which we can make out whether the person is having the unstable angina or the myocardial infarction. Another is you can go for the coronary angiography. By that you can visualize even the coronary artery blockage. Then important now the last part, that is a treatment. So treatment portion, most of the patient they die, and it is mainly because of the delay in the hospitalization. That is the main cause. Main cause is the transportation of the patient from the home to the hospital. But once the patient comes to the hospital, and we have to admit the patient to the ICCU, and what all we have to give. So initially we have to stabilize the patient. Now how we have to stabilize the patient? So first thing is, patient is having severe pain, so we have to give the nitroglycerin. So first one is we will be giving nitroglycerin by sublingual route, and wait, and if the patient still has a pain, with a 5 minutes gap, give another tablet. So by this we can give maximum 3 tablets, and if still the patient is having the pain, then we can give a morphine. Check for the oxygen saturation. If it is less than 90%, and then you have to give the oxygen. Then another drug which is going to decrease the mortality, that is aspirin. The low dose aspirin, 325 milligram of the aspirin, that is to be given. Then another one is beta blocker, cardioselective beta blocker like metoprolol. They also decrease the mortality, and they take care of arrhythmia also. Then another one is look for any acidosis. If that is there, then give sodium bicarbonate. Then any arrhythmia, if the person is having bradycardia or ventricular tachycardia, bradycardia mein you can give IV atropine. For the ventricular tachycardia, you can give a lignocaine. So this is the initial management. you have to give these drugs to the patient. And look for another thing also. If the person is having pulmonary edema, you can give the furosemide. ठीक है, अगर पेशेंट को pulmonary edema है, you have to give the diuretic. So once the patient is stabilized, then go for the reperfusion therapy. So what is the reperfusion therapy? So this reperfusion we have to give within 12 hours. Otherwise later on it is of no use. So what we do in a reperfusion therapy, here we do the percutaneous coronary intervention. So what intervention we can go for? It is coronary angioplasty. Here what we do, the part of the artery that is blocked, we inflate it and put a stent over there, so that now the blood flow will be maintained to that particular area. This is what we do in the percutaneous angioplasty. If suppose this facility, if it is not there, then what we can give? We can give tissue plasminogen activator like Alteplase. So what it does, it is going to convert plasminogen to plasmin, and this plasmin, it is going to cause the lysis of this fibrin. Clot will be lysed. So these are the fibrinolytic. So remember this thing, this percutaneous angioplasty and tissue plasminogen activator of fibrinolytic, this is given in if the person is, because the unstable angina and non-STEMI, they slowly progress to, they may progress, very high chances go for STEMI. So this is for this, the high risk patient, we have to do the reperfusion therapy, and it has to be done within 12 hours. If after 12 hours it is of no use, because now you cannot no, the tissue is completely dead, then if it is not done within 12 hours, then later on don't go for it. Now what else you can do? If it is not done, then later on you can further plan for the angiography, coronary angiography, look for the blockage and then plan accordingly how many vessels they are blocked. And once you have treated the patient in the hospital, now next part is you have to discharge the patient. So if the person if percutaneous intervention has been done in the form of stent, then you have to give the dual antiplatelet therapy. This is very, very important. That is aspirin and clopidogrel. Second one is the drug which is going to decrease the mortality, that is a beta blocker. Then you have to give cholesterol lowering drug, and most important here is a statin. We put the patient on mainly atorvastatin. Okay, so they have a pleiotropic effect. So I will be giving a link in the description box. You can check in my video of the antidyslipidemic drugs. Then diet, and if the person is having any diabetes, ठीक है, so uska bhi you have to give the treatment, ask the person to do the exercise. So these are the important drug to be given. If the person is having the diabetic, anti-diabetic uski chalegi, and further if there is any complication, you have to give the medication depending on the complication. This is all about the myocardial infarction. So if you like my video, share it and subscribe my channel.